All right, so this is going to be a quick one. This is going to be YouTube for busy business owners. And because you're a busy business owner watching this, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to talk very quickly and I'm going to basically tell you the most important things that you need to do if you want to, make a personal brand and start on YouTube. And the reason I know how to do this is because I have a personal brand. My main channel, Shane Hummus, has nearly 1 million subscribers, and I make multiple six figures a month from that. So let's talk about how you can do that as well. Because I've gone to a lot of business conferences, a lot of masterminds, etc. And one of the number one things that people want all the time is to start a channel on YouTube because they know that it's incredibly profitable, both directly and indirectly. But they also know that it takes a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, there's a lot to figure out. There's a pretty large barrier to entry compared to something like Twitter or maybe something like LinkedIn. And so they just end up not doing it, right? And I'm here to tell you that you can absolutely do YouTube and you can do it with not that much time or effort. I'm at the point now where I only have to spend 4 hours, and honestly, that's even a stretch, in order to maintain my YouTube channel, 4 hours a week, right? And a lot of the time it's less than that. I just went on a month and a half vacation and I didn't work on my YouTube channel at all during that time. And so let's talk about how you can do this. This is going to be a quick and easy guide. First of all, attractive titles and thumbnails. One of the most important things, uh, you really have to understand that it's kind of like marketing for a product. You could have the greatest product in the world, but if your marketing sucks, then it's just not going to do well. So you have to have good titles and you have to have good thumbnails. Okay. That is one of the few skills that you have to get decently good at on YouTube. Of course, you can have your team do this. You can always hire people to do this. A lot of people want to be YouTubers. It's the number one career that kids want to get into. They literally did a study and a survey on that. Even higher than doctor, lawyer, sports star, pop star, etc., movie star. And so you got to have good titles and good thumbnails. Now, when I talk about this, I call this the holy trifecta, and the third one is good ideas. Okay, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit with the keyword research. And in fact, I'd say the idea is even more important than the title and the thumbnail. But the title and the thumbnail is like the packaging. It's like the marketing of your product. You got to make the title and the thumbnail look good, or else nobody's ever going to even click on the video, right? And I was working with one of the biggest podcasts in the world, and they were trying to expand to YouTube. And they biggest business podcast in the world, and they were trying to expand to YouTube. And their titles and their thumbnails were terrible. The content was amazing. Obviously they've got a huge podcast, so of course the content's great. They've been around for like 10 years now. They've been doing the podcast for like 10 years. But their titles and thumbnails were just awful, especially their thumbnails, just absolutely awful. So their click-through rate was terrible. And, their watch time was pretty good because when people did click on it, it was, really good content, but the click-through rate was terrible. And so therefore, YouTube thought it was a bad video. It didn't promote it. And their videos weren't getting hardly any views at all. Right. So you gotta get titles and thumbnails down. Now, of course, in a short video like this, I can't go over exactly how to do this. I have lots of other videos on the channel on how to do this. I also have information. I go over in more detail on how this is done with the link in the description and the pinned comment below. There's a VSL down there. I am trying to sell you something. You will be able to book a call with me, full transparency there. And you can work with me if you want to grow and make money on YouTube. So book a call down the description in the pinned comment below. Also, there's a VSL. So the next thing is keyword research. So you use tools like vidIQ to find and target the right keywords. So vidIQ is amazing. Another one is, I'll just go ahead and write this. Another one is Keywords Everywhere. Keywords Everywhere. I know my handwriting is amazing. Everywhere. Keywords Everywhere. Awesome tool. Another good one is oneof10.com. It's a really nifty little tool. You don't have to use one of 10, but it just makes it a little easier. Keywords Everywhere is my favorite. vidIQ is my favorite. Keywords Everywhere is my second favorite, and oneof10.com is number 3 for me. But yeah, this is how you find the right ideas, because you want to make sure that your idea actually has demand. This is kind of like making an offer, right? You have to make sure that your offer actually has people that want it. It solves a problem, a painful problem for the right people. And that's the idea of the video. The idea is like the offer. Everyone knows, Alex Ramosi, $100 million offers. Everyone knows that the offer is the most important thing when it comes to business. And it's the same thing with videos. The idea is the most important thing. You could call it the offer if you want, I guess. But a video is an offer, right? You're offering, they are spending their time and you are offering to educate them or solve a problem or entertain them or whatnot. And that's an exchange of value, right? It's an offer. So the idea is the most important thing, and then the title and the thumbnail is the second most important. And these together, I like to call the holy trifecta, because if you nailed those three things, even if your content isn't top tier, you're probably still going to get a lot of views. Okay. Then you got congruence. So ensure your thumbnail, title, and intro are aligned and visually congruent. So this is something that a lot of people mess up on. So just as an example, on YouTube, I'm sure you've seen like the O face. Here, I'll pull up an example of this because there's so many of them. You guys have probably seen like the O face on thumbnails and stuff like that. Like, oh, people making the O face, in the finance space. A lot of the people, Graham Stephan, Andre Gik, Meet Kevin, etc. They're all making the O face, and it works really well. There's a reason that people do it, because it works extremely well. That is the reason why people do it. And what I see sometimes is people will make the O face when it's like a positive video. It's like my 5 favorite credit cards or something, and then they'll be making the O face like, oh, that doesn't make sense. There's no emotional congruence there. So this is something that I see a lot. There's a lot of problems with this, where the title and the thumbnail and the intro don't really match, right? And that's the intro is the next part, right? So the title, the thumbnail, and the intro need to match, as well as the idea in general. Okay, so make sure that it's all congruent. That's just something where you just have to give it a check. Of course, I have lots of videos on the channel of how to do this, so check out my other videos if you are interested in how to do that. And next, the type of content, okay? Because the next most important thing after those 4 things, the title, thumbnail, intro, and then the idea, is the value that you deliver in the content itself. And the biggest thing is to focus on value. Now, this comes with a sort of a little bit, I wouldn't say a warning, but generally speaking, you want to sell to people and make your channel for people who actually have money, right? And you want to do a niche audience, right? You really want to define like exactly who you're trying to attract. This is fundamental. Anyone who's done marketing knows that this is super important. It's getting more and more important as well with more channels popping up on YouTube. But you really want to define the exact avatar that you want to attract, the exact niche that you're making content on. And hopefully these are people who actually have money, because it's just, you're going to be playing on easy mode if you do this. Okay. Because you actually don't even have to get that many views to make money if you do this. Now, with that being said, we'll make a tiny little $ here. You can do mass market content where, your niche is extremely broad. And you could still make a good amount of money with this. However, you have to entertain them, right? You need to entertain people a little bit. It's a lot harder. The content is way harder to make. It takes longer as well. It takes longer to get to the point where you're making money. Whereas this one is just really fast. Like my clients that make a ton of money really quickly are the ones who know exactly who they're selling to and exactly who their client avatar is and what their niche is. Okay. And it's people who actually have money. Okay. So this is what you really want to do. Content aimed at addressing specific issues faced by your target audience. Just to give you an example, this doesn't have to be B2B or anything, although B2B works great. One of my clients, for instance, is an international foreign exchange student who was able to get into an elite Ivy League university. And what does he do? He teaches other international foreign exchange students how to get into elite Ivy League universities. Easy, right? Now, that's a perfect example. And international exchange students that are trying to get into Ivy League universities usually have money, right? They usually have money to spend, whether it's like their student loans or their parents have money or whatever it is, but they usually have money to spend. And he offered a high ticket product to them, right? And that's another thing. High ticket is better, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. So focus on value and focus on solving their problems, right? This is really a huge thing. The way that you create value is by solving problems. By solving problems, you create value. That's literally how you alleviate pain. By solving problems, if you want to get really technical, when you solve someone's problems, you alleviate their pain, and that creates value, right? This is if you want to get nerdy with this, this is kind of like the duality of the universe. The absence of light is darkness. The absence of heat is cold, and the absence of problems is value. Right? When you solve people's problems, you create value. Okay, so just understand that. If you're a business owner, you probably already get that, and use the straightforward, no nonsense approach, right? Don't give the same exact advice that everybody else is giving. This is another thing that I see people do all the time is they give this like milk toast, cookie cutter type advice like everybody else is giving. And if you do that, if you're giving the same advice as everyone else, then how are you going to differentiate yourself? The only way for you to do that is to make your content super entertaining or make it like unbelievably good content or something like that. You have to do something else to differentiate yourself. So I don't recommend doing that. So instead, uh, make content on things where you have a unique take, right? And be honest about that take, right? You don't necessarily need to be controversial, although many people are a little bit controversial in their content. And I notice that when I make controversial content, it tends to do extremely well. But there should be a reason that they're following you and not the other people. Like this is differentiation. So you want to differentiate yourself. If you notice the people that you follow, it's probably because they differentiated themselves somehow. And a lot of the time it's because they give better information than other people, right? And that's the next part, which is market differentiation. So have realistic expectations, right? Give realistic expectations. Don't this is just a piece of advice. You don't necessarily have to do this, but this especially works well if you're selling to like a high ticket, sophisticated audience. But give realistic expectations, right? Don't hype things up. Don't be too hypey. Present a balanced view that acknowledges the hard work and challenges involved. So just as an example, I'm somebody who recommends organic content, right? I'm somebody who recommends creating a personal brand. Does that mean I'm going to poop all over cold email, cold outreach, and running paid ads? No, running paid ads has its place. In fact, and cold outreach has its place as well. In fact, both of those work incredibly well in tandem with a personal brand. And if I were to go out there and say, "Oh, paid ads sucks," blah 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 blah, the typical marketing BS, like I think a lot of my audience wouldn't like that, right? Because paid ads works really great for a lot of people, but content, in my opinion, is just better. And it's the best thing is when you use content and a personal brand in tandem with something like paid ads. And counterbalance trends. So offer a realistic perspective to counterbalance overly optimistic market narratives or just trends in general, right? So if everyone's saying, the keto diet is the best thing in the world, maybe you should make a video on, the traditional keto diet isn't that good and you should do this modified type of keto diet, right? Next, monetization and call to action. This is something that a lot of people mess up. First of all, I always recommend high ticket offers. It's just easier to make money. This is something Hormozy says all the time too. And if you look at even companies that make it to like 100 million plus evaluation, like 70 to 80% are B2B. And that means they're doing they're doing high ticket, right? And out of the ones that aren't B2B, there's probably another like 10% that are high ticket B2C, right? B2C high ticket. Okay. So it's just way easier to make money if you're doing high ticket again. So, hey, if you're watching this, you have a software that, millions of people can download. Hey, good for you. That's awesome. You can definitely crush it on YouTube as well. But with that being said, high ticket offers, with the exception of maybe software and a couple others, are going to just dominate over everything else, right? And I'm acknowledging that there are exceptions to this rule. Some of my clients, for instance, have like a foreign audience one person that I met recently, for instance, um, they have like they teach English to like people from all over the world. So these, most of these people do not have a lot of money, and so they do low ticket sales. So there are exceptions to this, but generally speaking, like high ticket is the way to go. And then calls to action. Include clear calls to action in every single video. Like for instance, right now I'm going to tell you, if you want to grow a YouTube channel, if you want to do it in a way that it doesn't take you 2 or 3 years to start getting traction, and it takes you becoming a master of it. If you want to do YouTube for busy business owners, right, which is what I'm all about, is teaching people how to do that. Then book a call down below, right? That's a call to action. So book a call down below. Notice I told you to book a call. I didn't ask you to book a call. I actually told you. That's a pro trick right there. That actually increases the click through rate quite a bit, probably double. And so you want to have a clear call to action in every single video, directing viewers to book calls, join email lists, or attend webinars, etc. You can also tell them to like the video and stuff like that. For me personally, if you're doing mass market and you have like a small channel, it might be worth it to tell people to like or subscribe just to get your channel to a certain point where it's a little bit bigger. But, on my main channel, for instance, I never tell people to subscribe anymore, unless it's just in the script or something, and I just mention it. But I never actively try to tell people to subscribe because I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking matter if they subscribe or not. But when you're really small, let's say like, less than 1,000 subscribers, sure, you can do a call to action to tell people to subscribe because you'll grow slightly faster if you do that. And then alternative methods, consider affiliate marketing, sponsorships, starting a SaaS, etc. Affiliate marketing, for instance, is great because it's just so passive. No money, like nothing is better than doing absolutely nothing and then making 30, 50, 100,000 a month just completely passively. Like that is absolutely amazing. And that's what affiliate marketing allows you to do. Sponsorships can be really good depending on your niche. And of course, starting a SaaS, you could also do a group, MRR. That's another option. Another one that, like, if you want to get really fancy, you could do lead generation, depending on what your niche is, right? You can do lead generation. This works really well for certain niches. Like if you're, helping people get mortgages or something like that, lead generation can be great. But yeah, there's, generally speaking, high ticket offers are the best, but there are other methods. And then cycle awareness. So stay current, be aware of fast changing trends on platforms like Money Twitter, for instance. Another really good one is Reddit. Okay. So wherever your audience is, like look at, what trends are happening wherever your audience is. Maybe they're on Reddit, maybe they're on Money Twitter or Twitter in general. And then just look at the fast changing trends and adapt your content accordingly, because usually these websites, especially ones where it's written content, the trends will happen there first, and then the trends will move to long form content like YouTube. Same thing with TikTok. A lot of the time the trends will happen there first and then move over to YouTube. So it's good to keep your finger on the pulse of this stuff, because trending content, obviously if you make a video on trending content, there's a good chance that video is going to blow up because a lot of people are searching it. Viewer engagement. Solve real problems, engage viewers by addressing their genuine needs and providing practical solutions. Have a target audience, focus on an audience that has the means and willingness to invest in your solution. And then content consistency and types. Generally speaking, how-tos, listicles, interviews, stories, reviews, case studies are kind of like interviews, but I guess they're separate. Case studies. And then in some niches, news content works really well too. Not all niches, but some niches. These are the types of content you should be looking at. Notice I didn't do reaction, right? Reaction content doesn't really sell very well. They don't really see you as an authority if you're doing reaction content. Reaction content, I've seen some people make it work, but it's pretty tough to do that. Another one is like music videos. I've seen people, even people in like the make money online niche making like music videos. It really hasn't worked all that well. There's this guy, what was his name? Chris. He had like an orange hat, Chris something, and he was making music videos, and it just didn't really work all that well. Also, like challenge content. I've seen people make this work. For instance, Bia Heza was a channel that made this work, but he was mass market. And he also quit. He also stopped doing it because challenge content is a lot of work. It's not really sustainable. The reason I recommend these types of videos is because they make money and they're sustainable. The two S's, right? Make money and they're sustainable. So those are the types of content I typically recommend. And then once you can, when you first start, you can experiment with content. But after a while, you really want to make sure that 80% of your content follows a consistent format and build a loyal audience for that. And the reason for that is because if let's just say you're making all these different types, but then a listicle video blows up and it's like 3 pro tips for selling like a pro on Amazon FBA or something, right? Your audience is used to you making these listicle videos, and that's what they're going to want in the future. So you should make mostly listicle videos at that point, at least 80%, right? And your audience is going to expect that from you. That's what they're going to want in your content. And that's why you should do it. Notice Mr. Beast, every single one of his videos is a challenge video. There's a reason for that because of consistency. People want consistency. They want a consistent experience when they click on your content, right? So this is an easy guide. This is like the most important stuff. This is the stuff you absolutely have to nail. And if you can nail this stuff, which is not that hard to do, then you can absolutely crush it on YouTube. Book a call down below.